Today, among other things, we're going to talk about how to use protective glasses correctly during the eclipse on the 12th. The refurbishment works at Sands and Atocha stations, and since we are passing through them, how to save a tiny bit of money on station toilets. The reasons why access to Montserrat Natural Park is closed from time to time, as has just happened this July, and a prediction we made about ETIAS that has now been confirmed. Hola, ¿qué tal? Welcome to a channel made by two humans who live in Spain and who spend an absurd amount of time traveling throughout the Iberian Peninsula so you don't have to do it blindly. And welcome also to the August episode with answers to our followers' questions and news from the world of travel. We'd like to take this opportunity to confirm that the next Q&A video will air on the first Sunday in September. If you have any questions for that video, go ahead and ask now. So, a look at some important travel news first. Last month we talked about the works at Chamartín railway station in Madrid, but Spain's two largest railway stations, Atocha in Madrid and Sants in Barcelona, are also undergoing huge refurbishments that will last for years. A word of advice: don't arrive at the station with only just enough time. They are full of surprises, and every time we go there is something different, an area you cannot pass through or a longer detour you have to take. And without leaving the stations, you will see some rather nice paid toilets in the public area of every station. If you want to save the euro it costs to enter, once you have passed through the security check, you will find free toilets for all passengers. For a good number of days in July, it was not possible to walk along the trails near Montserrat. The natural park was closed because of the extreme risk of wildfires. It is one of the downsides of visiting Spain in summer. Increasingly extreme weather conditions are causing fire risk alerts to occur more often. Remember that we have a video with a suggested itinerary for a magical day in Montserrat. Regular viewers of the channel will have heard us venture more than once that given all the problems surrounding the introduction of the EES, we wouldn't be surprised if ETIAS were postponed once again. It is not that we are fortune tellers, you don't have to be a genius to read the situation. There has not been an official announcement as such, but the official ETIAS website has removed the statement saying that it will start to be required in the final quarter of the year. There should be an announcement about the postponement soon. If you don't know what ETIAS or EES are, we recommend you watch the video on EES when we answer all your questions. For the time being, there is absolutely no need to worry about ETIAS. The solar eclipse is approaching. We hope the weather will allow us to enjoy it, because in many parts of Spain, the heat during July has been horrendous, prolonged and intense. Let's look at how to use protective glasses. Some time ago, a complete idiot came onto the channel claiming that they were useless. Be careful, we're talking about your eyes. Basically, whenever the sun is visible, even if it's only a tiny glint, you need to be wearing the glasses. If you are lucky enough to watch the eclipse from within the path of totality, you can take the glasses off during the seconds or minutes when the moon completely blocks out the sun. You will know because you will not be able to see anything through the glasses. And the second the first glint of sunlight appears again, put them back on. It is very simple. And let's start with the questions. First, the questions from channel members, which we address with special, more detailed attention. Remember that for the price of a cup of coffee, you can become a channel member, a way to support the work we do. Marta has a few questions about Gibraltar. She's worried she won't be able to see as many sights as she would like. She's really looking forward to seeing the St. Michael Caves and wanted to know if it's possible to get close to them by bus. She's also read about the siege of 1782 in which she believes one of her ancestors took part. Look how interesting. Marta, the key thing is to set aside enough time for Gibraltar. As you have seen from our video, you are already aware that there are loads of places of interest that most people don't get round to visiting due to lack of time. Most of the videos we've seen about Gibraltar spend just a couple of hours along the main street just going shopping, which is the least interesting part of Gibraltar. 2 days is a reasonable amount of time to see the essentials of Gibraltar without a minute to spare. To get up to the caves, there is a bus that leaves from Marketplace in the center every 30 minutes and takes you up to near the caves. Given what you've told us about your ancestor, you really mustn't miss the siege tunnels either. They are very interesting. I hope you will have a lovely time in Gibraltar. And remember, we have a very detailed video dedicated to Gibraltar. Every single resource we mention here along the program will have a link in the first comment below the video. Estela is planning to travel to Spain between mid-October and November and wants to know if she will be able to go to the beach at all. She doesn't want a beach holiday but rather a stopover somewhere on the coast. Estela, 15 years ago our answer would have been very different, but with temperatures rising so rapidly it might well be possible. The sooner the better. The Mediterranean will still be warm. Your best options are the Mediterranean coast or, even better, one of the Balearic Islands. You mentioned Barcelona, but we don't think much of its beaches. It would be better to try a beach on the Costa Brava, north of Barcelona, such as Tossa de Mar. We talk about Tossa de Mar in the video with the best day trips from Barcelona. Valencia or Malaga are two further options. Ivan is planning a trip in September and wants to stay for 7 weeks. Yeah, that's great. The itinerary he's suggesting is Lisbon, Porto, Seville, Madrid and Barcelona. He would like to know our opinion. How long should he spend in each city? He'd also like to know if it's safe to leave a rucksack containing a laptop in a hostel with a shared room. 7 weeks is an excellent amount of time to explore the Iberian Peninsula at a leisurely pace. The proposed itinerary is a good one. As you are traveling at a leisurely pace, we would suggest 7 days in Lisbon, 5 in Porto, 4 in Seville, 7 in Madrid and 7 in Barcelona. Since you are heading to Andalusia, we would add 4 days in Granada and 2 in Cordoba. And then you have the day trips from Lisbon, Madrid and Barcelona. We'll leave links below the video presenting the best ones. As for the laptop, it will all depend on the hostel. We try not to make it obvious that you are carrying one and would always keep it locked away. Even so, it will still cause a bit of unease. Fabian is visiting Madrid in September and wanted some recommendations for tapas bars to try. Fabian, we've put together a video with a tapas tour of central Madrid that will take you to a selection of classic bars we recommend in the city. No Mercado de San Miguel, no tourist traps. Don't miss it. Matthias is going to Mallorca for 3 days and wants to know which places to visit, bearing in mind that he will be spending part of that time visiting a friend in Alcudia. He would also like to visit Sóller by train. Matthias, if you've got 3 days and if you want to spend part of that time with your friend in Alcudia and take the train to Sóller, you won't have time for anything else, given how short your visit will be. As you will have to go to Palma to catch the train, have a look at the video we've put together on things to do in the capital. It is a beautiful city, often overlooked, and we've done a thorough job highlighting the must-see places in Palma. So one day for Palma, one day for the Sawyer train, and the rest with your friend. And Matthias once again bought a train ticket on the Omio website. Renfe made a minor timetable adjustment and Omio cancelled their ticket without giving them any certainty about rebooking. He doesn't know whether to buy directly from Renfe or pay the fee Omio is asking for, which doesn't guarantee them seats. He also wants to know whether to buy now or wait a bit longer. He's worried about timetable changes. Matthias, what a mess Omio has got you into. They should never have cancelled your ticket over a minor timetable adjustment, let alone charge you for issuing a second one. And the fact that they don't warranty seats is absurd. On high-speed trains in Spain, you can only travel if you have booked a seat. Lots of people ask us about Omio, and our answer is always the same. We haven't used it and don't intend to, because it's an agency that sells all sorts of things, and when things go wrong, it doesn't seem to be particularly efficient. As you know, here we use and recommend the train line, but in your specific case, after everything you've been through, I would book directly on the Renfe website. If you register, you will be notified directly whenever there's a timetable change, both by email and by text messages, and also a notification on the app. These changes aren't that frequent, but they are not unusual either. And normally, as happened to you, they are only a few minutes delay caused by engineering works or speed restrictions on the track. As for whether to wait, you know what we have said countless times on the channel. High-speed tickets should be bought as far in advance as possible. Silvania has 9 days to explore northern Spain, starting and ending in Bilbao, and would like to know what she can do. She's looking for cities, nature, history, and a bit of wine. Silvania, to explore northern Spain, you would need at least a month. You should focus on a specific region, in your case, the Basque Country. With the time you have available, you could spend 2 or 3 days in Bilbao, visit San Juan de Gaztelugatxe and Zumaya on the way to San Sebastian, spend 2 days in San Sebastian, head down to Victoria, and finish with a road trip itinerary through La Rioja, the land of the Rioja wine. We'll post all the videos we have on the Basque Country in the first comment to help you organize this itinerary. And now the questions from non-channel members. Anna is visiting Malaga as a port of call on Easter Sunday. She'll have 5 hours, not including disembarking and reboarding, and wants to know if she will have enough time to visit the Roman Theatre, the Alcazaba and Gibralfaro Castle. Anna, to get out of the port, you can walk or take a bus run by the cruise line, which may be free or may cost a fee depending on the company. And yes, there's plenty of time. Start by going up the castle, then walk down to the Alcazaba and finish at the Roman Theatre. Walk back to the ship via Muelle 1. Adriano wants to know if we have a video on Mérida. Well, we don't have one yet, but we are working on it. It should air in October. Maria has asked us a question that has come up before, but we think it's worth repeating because of its relevance and because we realize that not everyone watches our Q&A programs regularly. It concerns the rules on medicines. We imagine the query relates to bringing medicines into Spain. If they are for personal use, you shouldn't have any problems provided that the quantity is consistent with your intended use, you carry the original packaging, and you also have a prescription confirming that you need to take them. There are certain types of medicines where customs checks are much stricter, such as psychotropic drugs and anti-anxiety medication, testosterone or medical cannabis. With any other medication, you should be okay. Daniel wants information about Mediterranean cruises departing from Malaga. Many cruise lines operate cruises that go at Malaga, but the number of cruises that start in Malaga is much smaller. Among the most popular cruise lines are Costa and MSC with departures from Malaga, as well as premium cruise lines such as Azamara and luxury cruise lines such as Explora. A good travel agent will be able to provide you with further details. And in a couple of weeks' time, we will publish a video with the main cruise itineraries around the Iberian Peninsula. Adrian has asked us for information about Lanzarote, must-see places, beaches, culture and markets. Adrian, you will find all that and much more in our collection of videos on Lanzarote, which is covered in quite some detail on the channel. It's a magical island and one of our favorite destinations in the world. A user is asking for our opinion on Costa cruises. In our view, it is the most basic of the major cruise lines with all that entails. It has some very modern ships and has many fans, mainly for three reasons: its prices, the fact that on many cruises young children travel free, and the fact that anyone can get by on board even if they only speak Spanish, which is a great plus for Spanish cruisers not fluent in English. Mateus wants to know how the tourist tax works in Barcelona, whether the amount is already included in the accommodation price or whether it is charged separately. Mateus, the tourist tax in Barcelona isn't usually included in the accommodation price and is charged separately, and you will pay for it when you check in at the hotel. For bookings done on platforms such as Booking.com, for example, this amount is clearly shown as a separate item. The amount of the tax depends on the category of your accommodation. You will see this amount when you make your booking. Children under 17 are exempt. Eneco would like us to recommend a place to watch the eclipse in Tarragona, or somewhere as close as possible to Barcelona, but within the path of totality. Although we have a fairly good knowledge of Spain's tourist destinations, we haven't mapped out the eclipse viewing spots across the endless list of cities and towns within the path of totality, an effort that not even the Spanish tourism authorities with far greater resources than us have undertaken. Our advice for Tarragona: head to the tourist office, they are sure to have that information. Almost the entire Barcelona coastline will be outside the path of totality. Tarragona is a better bet. Miriam wants to know which cities in northern Spain we would recommend. The question is a bit vague. You would need to clarify what you mean by north, because from Madrid upwards it's all northern Spain. But let's have a go from east to west. Barcelona, Girona, Zaragoza, Logroño, Pamplona, San Sebastián, Bilbao, Santander, Oviedo, Burgos, León, and the cities in Galicia that we talked about in the last Q&A program. Anna asks us two very good questions. What should you do with your passport when traveling? Do you leave it in the hotel safe? And she also asks what to do with it in the security tray at the airport. Excellent, Anna, because these are two critical situations where you need to be extra vigilant. As for your passport, if you are not going to need it, leave it at the hotel and go out with your national ID card. At the hotel, if there is a safe, we put it in the safe, even though we are aware of how easy it is to open a safe if you know how. We've never had any problems, but we are aware that a safe isn't invulnerable, but still it's safer than the desk. As for the tray at the airport security checkpoint, it's a critical spot because that's where thefts are most likely to occur. What we do is put all our valuables, mobile phone, money, documents, glasses, inside a rucksack or a bag secured with a padlock to prevent any light-fingered fellow passengers from taking advantage. Most thefts in this context are committed by other passengers, but unfortunately, and we won't go into further detail, An airport security officer once tried to steal a valuable item from us. You have to be 1000% on your guard. Miriani has seen in several Instagram videos, that in order to get the TTP, Madrid Public Transport Card, you now need to be empadronado, that is, registered as a resident. And she wants to know if this means she won't be able to top up her Tarjeta Multi, her multi-card, which is the card used by visitors to Madrid to travel by bus or metro. There's an entire video dedicated to it on the channel. Instagram as a source of reliable information is a bit of a mixed bag and it can be a disaster. No, this measure applies to residents who hold a residence card. Tickets for visitors remain the same, nothing has changed. Rejani doesn't have much time and has to choose between the Alcázar in Seville and the one in Córdoba. Well, choose the one in Seville and try not to rush through the city. It is a shame to have to miss out on visiting interesting places just because you haven't set aside enough time. Alejandra is coming to Spain for 25 days and would like some general recommendations. She also tells us she's only going to visit 3 cities, Madrid, Barcelona and the Canary Islands, and asks us how we would recommend she organized her trip. Alejandra, we're going to provide you with 2 lists of videos from our channel. One with the general recommendations you've asked for and another with mistakes you should avoid in general, and specifically in Madrid and Barcelona. As for how to split up your days, you've really stumped us here. The Canary Islands are not a city. They are an archipelago with many islands, and without knowing which one or ones you plan to visit, it is impossible to give precise advice on how to split your time. But do set aside at least 1 week for Madrid and another for Barcelona. Alicia wanted to visit Gibraltar from Cádiz and wanted to know if there is a direct bus to La Línea de la Concepción. Alicia, as a day trip, you obviously won't be able to do it due to time constraints, but there is indeed a direct bus. It takes nearly 3 hours with few departures through the day, and it is operated by Transportes Comes. Felipe is visiting Madrid this August and would like to know if there are any free visiting times at the museum during the month. He would also like to know how to book a visit during these times on the museum's website. Felipe, yes, there are free entry times the last 2 hours every day, Monday to Sunday. During the pandemic, you had to book these free entry times in advance, but that requirement has now ended. You just need to join the queue. Please be aware that the queue is usually enormous. Damian wants to know how we view the way the EES is working. And Juan is asking a similar question. He's arriving to Madrid in September and wants to know about the EES situation because he's heard of queues of 4 or 5 hours. Damian and Juan, in the last 2 or 3 Q&A videos, we've been gathering feedback from many of the channel's followers that have given their views on what's happening. Some people are getting through without any problems, while others are facing considerable delays. Although the system isn't working as it should, we are not aware of queues lasting 4 or 5 hours in Madrid. That has happened at other airports. That said, we can tell you how things have been so far, but we don't know what might happen in the future, which is why you can't be too careful, especially when planning connecting flights. Victoria is thinking of hiring a car in Spain and wanted to know if Centauro is a reliable company. Hi Victoria, Centauro is a long-established Spanish car rental company. We've used them twice with no problems and would use them again. Sonia can't find any tickets to travel from Vigo to Porto in September. She says there used to be some, but she can't find any now. She wants to know if it's safe to book directly on the Renfe website, and she also wants to know if it's safe to book on the ALSA website, as ALSA operates that route by coach. This is quite a special train service because it's an international one operated jointly by the Spanish Renfe and Comboios de Portugal. If there were tickets available before and there aren't now, they may simply have sold out. There's engineering work on the line and part of the journey is now done by coach. It's safe to book on the Renfe website and it is safe to book on the ALSA website as well. Rosemary is going to visit Malaga, Seville, Cordoba, Toledo and Madrid, and she'd like to know which of the alcazabas, that's the term she uses in her question, in those cities we'd recommend she visit. Well, among the cities you mentioned, there's only just the one alcazaba as such, bearing that name, in Malaga, and it is well worth a visit. Fernanda is having trouble buying the Trans-Montserrat Pass on Barcelona's official tourism website. She is also unable to complete her purchase of a ticket for the Hospital de Sant Pau and wants to know if she can buy it on the day. Fernanda, we've just checked and the link to buy the Trans-Montserrat Pass is working properly. We'll post it again below the video. On a normal day, you should be able to buy your ticket for the Hospital de Sant Pau on the day of your visit. Agustin is coming to Spain during Holy Week and wants to know which places he should avoid visiting at that time of the year due to prices and the availability of services. Agustin, we've got a video where we give a broad overview of what Holy Week celebrations are like in Spain. First of all, you need to decide whether you want to make the effort to experience these celebrations or not. The cities we mentioned in that video will be absolutely packed with high season prices. In Madrid or Barcelona, things are a bit quieter during the time, and a place like Zaragoza is perfect for a first taste of Holy Week without breaking the bank. Beatriz is going to travel by ALSA coach from Seville to Lisbon and then from Lisbon to Madrid. And she wants to know if the Santa Justa and Sete Rios stations are safe. Beatriz, unless things have changed, there isn't actually a bus station as such at Santa Justa station in Seville. The bus stops in front of the railway station. Sete Rios in Lisbon is quite large, but there aren't any obvious problems apart from the fact that you should always keep an eye on your personal belongings. Liz is going to Spain at the end of August. Good luck with the weather, and wants to know which mobile network we would recommend for traveling around central and southern Spain, and what would be the best route from Granada to Toledo. Liz, our recommendations for mobile network providers are the same for the whole country. The key is to find one that sells you a SIM card without any hassle. We've got a video on the channel where we discuss the main providers and how to buy those SIM cards in Madrid. These recommendations apply to any other city as well. As for the route from Granada to Toledo, the best option is to return to Madrid by high-speed train and without changing stations, hop on a second direct train bound for Toledo. Arturo wants to know the most efficient route for traveling from Betanzos, where his great-grandparents were from, to Toledo. He also wants to know if he can get back to Madrid from Toledo on the same day as his return flight to Costa Rica. The flight leaves at 2:40 p.m. Arturo, that journey from Betanzos to Toledo is a bit of a marathon. First, you will need to get to Coruña by bus or train. From Coruña, you will take a train to Madrid. You will arrive at Chamartín station. From there, you will take a commuter train to Atocha station, where you will catch the train bound for Toledo. Allow at least 90 minutes between the arrival of the train at Chamartín and your departure from Atocha. For the return journey, you would need to be at the airport by 11:20. You could take one of the first trains of the morning from Toledo to Madrid. You will arrive at Atocha station. From there, take the express bus to the airport or a taxi or a ride-sharing service. We would aim to arrive in Madrid at around 10 a.m. to make sure everything goes smoothly. Ernesto has 12 days for a trip around Portugal and southern Spain and wants to know whether it's better to enter and leave via Portugal or return via Portugal, whether it's better to book hotels and a car while already in Spain, and the best itinerary to take. Ernesto, starting at the end, 12 days isn't much time at all. We cannot think of any itinerary that wouldn't feel like a sprint. Honestly, we spent the whole time in Portugal or devoted entirely to Andalusia. We've got a train route through Andalusia that's perfect for that time frame. If you are planning an open itinerary, not a circular one, entering via Portugal and returning via Spain might be a good idea. And if you don't have European Union passports, you will need to have all your accommodation booked in advance. And if you wait until the last minute to hire a car, you will end up paying the highest rate. Veronica has heard the news about the terrible fires ravaging Spain and wants to know if she will be able to travel in October. Veronica, we haven't received our crystal ball yet, so we cannot answer your question about whether there will be fires in 3 months' time. But the fires currently raging, terrible as they are a typical summer phenomenon linked to extreme temperatures and lack of rainfall. We are not aware of any fires in Spain that have lasted for months. They are usually extinguished within a few days. Carlos has had problems with lost luggage with an airline and wants to know if we have a video on the subject. And yes, we have a video on how to make a claim for luggage-related issues, the link below. And with Carlos, we wrap up this month's Q&A. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you next month. If you'd like to count with our virtual company during your travels through Spain, make the most of our self-guided walking tours containing expert advice and the tools to explore the cities of Spain as if you were in the company of a local. Safe travels to everyone during August.